Well, hello there again, tubers, and welcome back to my channel. Getting ready for day number 2 of our Cross Canada trip 2025. So, as you know, last time we left off, we were in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and now we're heading for day 2. Now, we are in the prairies, and I know people say the prairies are kind of boring, but if you look, you can find things. Surprisingly, there are hills. I didn't say mountains, but there are hills. There are hills. So we left Swift Current on the morning of May 22nd. And it was a 620 kilometer ride to Brandon, Manitoba. And we had a couple of stops along the way. The day started off cool again, 7 degrees, so we had to put the rain gear on, not to keep the rain out, because it didn't rain, a little bit of wind, but it helps keep us warmer when that cold air is not hitting us, as we're riding along at 120 kilometers an hour. But along the way, we came to the town of Moose Jaw, or city of Moose Jaw, actually. And it was quite a neat experience there. Unknown to me very much. I had heard a little bit, but Moose Jaw was a significant place for bootlegging, whiskey and rum, and even Al Capone himself made frequent trips on the Soo Railway line from Chicago up to Moose Jaw. And so while we were there was a very interesting tour that you could take. They have a building, and they actually take you in the underground tunnels that were used. Now, those underground tunnels were actually made by Chinese immigrants. When they had come over, there was a concern that there'd be too many of them, and so what they did is, to sort of slow down immigration, is they put a head tax on Chinese immigrants, and a lot of them couldn't afford it. They were making enough to survive, and so they hid underground underneath the hotels where they worked, and those tunnels became a way for the rum runners and whiskey runners to get store their booze and get it to the train station without being seen or caught. So yeah, in that building you can see that they had a poster that showed, why people were against the use of alcohol. The Prohibition years in the States lasted from 1920 to 1933. In Canada, it was not as long, and the rules weren't as strict. So we had a tour, went underground, and saw rooms where Al Capone stayed, or Al Capone conducted his business. He also always had, friends along. Like here, you can see he has a bodyguard and his lawyer along, and Scarface himself in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. They have a replica of the kind of car that Al Capone would have driven around in at that time. As Canada became a haven for the production of whiskey due to Prohibition in the States, and Canada supplied hundreds of thousands of cases of whiskey between 1920 and 1933. And so the black market really was in full swing there, and it wasn't the nicest market. And there were a lot of bloodshed. There was a lot of bloodshed. But they were very sneaky, in case they, would ever get stopped. They would take the whiskey bottles and put them in bottles that look like maple syrup bottles, and even label them as maple syrup, because the color of maple syrup is very close to the color of whiskey. I wanted to know more about it. You can't learn it all just in a quick visit. So I picked up this book by Gord Steinke, Crossing the Line, and I'm 2/3 through it. Pretty good book. Interesting read. Amazing some of the stuff that went on, and a lot of bad stuff that went on too. The building that the tour was in, just you can see the ornate ceiling. It had also pictures from the past. You can see here the old building called the Hudson Bay Insurance Company. And then there's also, it was a training ground for the Royal Canadian Air Force pilots. They would do training in telecommunications. They had an Air Force base there. And yeah, Moose Jaw is quite the happening little place. And so then we made our way out, saw a few interesting buildings, churches and public buildings, government buildings, and that sort of thing. And of course, no visit to Moose Jaw would be complete without stopping to see Mac the Moose. And he's massive. He's huge. So we all took turns getting our pictures taken with Mac the Moose. And yeah, you can read the plaque there all about Mac the Moose. Very interesting. Behind Mac the Moose, they had a Canadian Snowbird jet there, and then I had to pose in some goofy way because that's what I do. So on the way through Saskatchewan, no real big stops there, except we did stop in Moosomin, Saskatchewan. Never heard of it until this trip, but that was one of our break stops, and there was a Dairy Queen there, and they had a cool little sign in the Dairy Queen welcoming us to Moosomin. And Moosomin is where we were able to take our rain gear off, because as I said, we started out at 7 degrees, but then it got up to 20, and then we're just hot. So rain gear was off, and then we made our way to Brandon, Manitoba, which was our stop for the night. Close by to our hotel, we saw this very interesting billboard. I guess they make hot dogs. Everybody says Uncle Wiener's Whole Ale. I don't think I'm going to be having any beer made from wieners. You go ahead, but now you keep that to yourself. But it was a good day, not too cold, not too hot, and some very interesting things to see. So now before I go, if you're enjoying the videos, well, you should give a thumbs up down below and then subscribe to my channel, and then you'll see when the next one comes out, which of course will be day number 3 of our Cross Canada trip. Thanks for visiting my channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.